that acted when defending.
I've been given like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on, Ian, right? And with an introduction like that, people, what more have I got to say apart from people deluded? I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope you're doing well and safe. I hope you're all blessed. I hope you and your loved ones are in good health. Appreciative of you lot tuned in for this video. Appreciate everyone who supports all the content. Information in relation to that is in the description. Make sure you're following on all the socials. Comment any opinions, smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Obviously, people, Arsenal are back in action against Brentford, but let's see where the current Arsenal talking points lie. Now, if I share my screen with you guys, people, make sure you're checking out the rest of the videos in the YouTube playlist. Now, fortunately, you know, we can start off with some real actual news. Zinchenko has been named January's player of the month. You know, he definitely is one of the Premier League signings of the season. He's probably Arsenal's sign of the season. We change it all the time. We were saying Gabriel Jesus a few months ago, and in a good way, that shows how good our recruitment's been. It's really difficult to put into words how good Zinchenko has been, evidently on the football pitch, you know. Left back, basically centre mid in the team. He's given us another dimension. He's central to how Mikel Arteta wants to play football. Him, Xhaka and Odegaard in that regards are probably our three most important players. His leadership qualities, his passion. I would say he's actually been superb in all the big games as well, people, really and truly. And even in the disappointing game against Everton, he was probably, well, I'd say Gabriel, Saliba and him, probably the ones mashing work. You can't underestimate how good this young Ukrainian lad's been for us, and lovely to see Zinchenko, man. Lovely to see, and I think he deserves it, people. For what it's worth, he was, you know, he got 48% of the vote, people. Eddie Nketiah came second place and Martin Odegaard third. Unfortunately, you know, big up Eddie Nketiah. He's done well, and as has Martin Odegaard, but Zinchenko's just done better. So big up our left back, people. So far, he's helped us pick up 7 points from a possible 9 in the league, people. And obviously, we reached the 4th round of the FA Cup, as well as being a steady presence in our backline with 16 recoveries and 2 interceptions during his 5 appearances. He was also an influence in attack by making 232 successful passes, giving him an accuracy of 87%. Lovely stuff from the Ukrainian lad. What more can you say, people? Gabriel Jesus apparently has stepped up his recovery. Arsenal boost as Gabriel Jesus steps up recovery from key injury ahead of return to help title push. No clue if he'll be a part of the Brentford game, and likewise midweek next week against Manchester City, but nonetheless he stepped up his recovery. Now we have to take time. It's positive, you know, he's working in the pool. He's obviously probably on an individual program to help strengthen his knee. This does not necessarily mean he's back anytime soon, but hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. But hopefully he's back when he's actually ready, because someone like Gabriel Jesus, in my opinion, he's probably going to need, in a positive way, saving from himself. If they say you're out for 4 months, you know, a guy like him wants to come back in 1.5, 2 months. And I think one thing I have liked is we've taken our time. You know, obviously with Partey, we've taken our time. El Nene, Tomiyasu, you know, we've taken our time. So Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff won't let Jesus come back until he's ready. You know, we previously heard Jesus say he's back in 4 to 5 weeks. You know, Arteta kind of poured cold water on that, as he would, urging caution. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to play any part of our closing of 2022 and obviously 2023 so far. He did undergo surgery. Apparently, he's been hard at work at Arsenal's London Coley training ground ever since, and now the club have released photos of the Brazilian being put through his paces. He's done various exercises to strengthen his knee, including walking in the pool, people. So he's on the mend, and hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. Carrying on with transfer news, Moses Caicedo, allegedly Liverpool have emerged as dark horses. Liverpool out of Arsenal and Chelsea probably need central midfielders the most. He's been linked with all 3 clubs. He was primarily linked with Chelsea and Liverpool before us, really and truly. And I think, you know, if we do go back in for him, there's going to be a whole host of clubs that want him. And, you know, Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool could all convince him should they put up the money, people. Ben Jacobs allegedly said, people. So with Arsenal, their number 1 midfield target remains Declan Rice in the summer, and they'll compete with Chelsea and possibly Manchester United as well. But sources have always told me that Rice's priority is to stay in London if he can possibly can, and that would lend itself towards an Arsenal-Chelsea move. But with Declan, the price has dropped significantly compared to what West Ham were quoting last summer in order to try and ward off suitors. So the teams that were asked about Rice were told the fee was in excess of 100 million, which was essentially saying he is not for sale because no one was ever going to pay that last summer. This summer, Rice would be available for as low as 70 to to 75 million. You know what expensive Rice that is, people. Which Arsenal and Chelsea will see as great value. So Rice is one to watch for Arsenal and also Chelsea as well. They'll be the two that are pushing for him. He then went on to say Liverpool are ones to watch when it comes to Caicedo, as they have a historical interest. So the Man United. But for what it's worth, back to Caicedo, we can't rule out Arsenal as well. But it remains to be seen if they'll pay the same kind of fee that they were offering in January. Caicedo's price could actually drop a bit rather than go up. It depends. His performances fluctuate up and down. That obviously has a connotation. Obviously, you've got more of a bargaining chip in the summer. Brighton didn't want to let him go. On one hand, I would love Caicedo and Rice. You know, we do have to be able to move in every direction, whether you get both of them, one of them, or whatever. If you could bring me Rice and Zubimendi, it is what it is. One would think I personally think, you know, and again, there's a whole host of clubs in half of the targets we want: Zubimendi, Ruben Neves, Telemans, Declan Rice, and Caicedo today. So if you could get one of those and there's a plan B, why not, man? But it'd be lovely, really. But he went on to say Chelsea could also be back as they want more than one midfielder, and Caicedo has worked with Graham Potter before. Liverpool might be ones to watch as well, as they've had a historical interest in Caicedo since he moved to Brighton. However, they never bidded in January, contrary to what reports said. The reason for that is twofold: because they didn't see value at the kind of figures being quoted, and two, because the agent situation was complicated, and those are not the type of deals that Liverpool normally do. But if we get to the summer and the deal becomes simpler and falls within Liverpool's valuation, they could go for Caicedo too. Chelsea can obviously blow anyone out of the water. Liverpool need a new engine room too, so they are the three clubs to watch, but we have to now determine what the actual price is going to be in all likelihood for Caicedo, and that will depend on the volume of suitors, but also other midfielders that are available on the market, which is true. Again, Arsenal face fight for Caicedo as Liverpool have emerged as dark horses. Once again, this article kind of reiterates. We all know we had 2 bids rejected. We know he's got new agents. We all know that he done the social media antics, and his agent came out previously and said he's been denied a life-changing opportunity, or better yet, a dream move, as described there, people. So we'll have to see in that regards. Big up Arsenal's women. They beat Manchester City after extra time, people. They are now in the cup final of the Continental Cup, so big up them. Hopefully they can bring silverware similar to our under-18s who are part of the Youth Cup. And obviously our first team, people, really and truly. This was just an article for me. Ben Jacobs has said Tottenham and Arsenal could battle for Zubimendi. I mean, stay out of this, Spurs. Come on now. I mean, Spurs, another one. To be honest, half of the top 6, all of the top 6, you can make a case for needing midfielders. We need more long-termism. Spurs need midfielders who can just take a ball off the centre half and progress it, you know, similar to what Bentancur could do, because it's only him. Liverpool need a revamp. Man United, I think, you know, while they've brought in Casemiro and Eriksen can do a thing, and they've got Bruno, McTominay and Fred, there's quite a drop-off if certain players aren't there. Obviously, you know, Chelsea, they've got Enzo Fernandez showing no sign of slowing down. Manchester City's a bit different, but I do get the vibe that they will move for a midfielder or midfielders. But one does wonder, even this Caicedo, you could make a case of Liverpool need him, but apparently, once again, they've emerged as the front runners for him. So if they get both of them, that's decent. Ben Jacobs has said Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi will draw plenty of summer interest too. He's so calm on the ball and an intelligent defender who also wins his fair share of aerial duels and second balls, together with his ability to play deep, you know, connect play from the centre backs to the midfield and bring him more attacking. I think he'd be perfect for 50 odd million, really. I personally think, you know, you get Declan Rice and him, or you get Zubimendi and some other targets, it could be all right. Suitors in January were told to pay Zubimendi £60 million release clause, or euros, or no deal would be done, and the player himself wasn't really pushing for a move. He only signed a new 5-year deal at the club in October, but a transfer is very possible come summer, especially considering Zubimendi wasn't willing to have his release clause raised. That makes him attainable on the market. Barcelona coach Xavi also admires Zubimendi, though it remains to be seen if the finances are workable to proceed. Keep an eye on Tottenham and Manchester United as well. You could see why Ten Hag would like him, and Conte and Spurs probably need midfielders the most, people. We have previously heard he prefers the Premier League, so obviously that's a kick into the teeth for Barcelona, and that's a boost for other clubs, really. So I have to see. 34 million midfielder wanted at the Emirates, people. Moses Caicedo does not have a preferred club. I mean, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, they could all offer him a good project and a good carrot, people. So yeah, apparently we could try and sign him again in the summer. We failed with 2 bids. Obviously, one was worth 70 million. According to The Athletic, they made a 50. Chelsea tried to bid 55 million. but he's rated closer to £34 million, people. Ben Jacobs said Caicedo, from what I understand, didn't necessarily have an absolute preference of a club. He wanted the move, but he termed it very generically a massive opportunity, and that massive opportunity started when only Chelsea bidded and ended when Arsenal made 2 bids. His head was turned during that whole process, which tells you that it's more about joining one of the big 6 than necessarily being overly fixed on a singular club. So we'll have to see. Me personally, I think the Caicedo stuff is done. I think that's Arsenal's chapter done. I'd love to be proven wrong. Apparently, what's this? We've been linked with Gabriel, who could leave on a free transfer from Juventus. They need to look after their financial structure. So once again, it makes no surprise that Arsenal, Liverpool, and he almost joined Man United, obviously in the summer, have really been linked with the French international people. Fabrizio Romano claims Saliba could sign a new contract in February or March. So that would be 2 down, assuming he signs with Martinelli. Hopefully you get Saka done and Patino and all of these guys, and Ethan, I'm wary if it is the case. Romano has said, let's see about the timing, because we know that agents were busy during the market. And we got to remember, Saliba's agent isn't his, Saliba's not his agent's only client. Because they were busy during the market. Sometimes the contract extensions go to February and March because they focus on different players during the January market and then move on to contract extensions in different moments. I mean, he's central to the project. He's playing week in, week out. I do think Mikel Arteta has done all he can, really and truly, to convince the man to stay, people. The 6'4" defender is also an exceptional passer of the ball from the back, as shown by the fact he ranks in the top 5% of centre-backs across Europe's big 5 leagues, as well as the Champions League and Europa League, which he doesn't play in the Champs, for a pass success rate. And he's also in the top 4% for attempted passes per 90. And he's also improved defensively, I feel, especially from set pieces. You know, we were terrible against Everton. He was the one man on defending set pieces. Arsenal told Chelsea Outcast would be a great buy. Hudson-Odoi, I mean, he's not a bad player, but he's firmly a project. And we might as well just work with Reece Nelson and some other younger players. You know, if Arteta wants him and can tap into that untapped potential, you know, why not, people, really and truly? But yeah, it feels like we need players that kind of, we know what sort of competencies, confidence and consistencies they're going to give us. You know, obviously you've got Trossard, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Bukayo Saka, you know, could all probably make a case, really, even Reece Nelson before his injury. So I'm not too sure the Hudson-Odoi is one, but he's English. He's got his best years in front of him, assuming he gets his act together. So who knows? In relation to Telemans is also expected to leave Leicester this summer on a free, barring a U-turn on signing a new deal. Leicester would love to keep him, but Telemans has been clear he doesn't want to extend. Arsenal still haven't ruled out signing him on a free transfer. Again, on Declan Rice, Arsenal's midfield priority would be Rice, and West Ham are resigned to losing him. Suitors are hoping for a fee of 70 to 80 million. This is ultimately because Rice's contract expires in the summer of 2024 with an option of another year. But Chelsea's big spending could inflate the market and Rice's price. You can understand why selling clubs, especially for top-tier centre mids, will go to the point of Enzo Fernandez is 107 million. You know, West Ham have a point. You know, Enzo Fernandez did well at River Plate, built on that at Benfica, became a World Cup winner. You know, one young player of the tournament, I think, for the World Cup. And obviously he signs for Chelsea. And Declan Rice, whether he's better than him or not, Declan Rice has been somewhat more of a fixated name in European football. As we know, ability and price are not correlated. It's what you can hustle. And if you've got a player that the big clubs want, especially one with many years in front of them, it's either put up or shut up. If you don't pay, someone else will. If we don't pay for Caicedo, Declan Rice, Zubimendi, whoever, someone else will. Or if they don't, we will, sort of thing. It is what it is, really. Apparently, Arsenal definitely want another midfielder, despite Jorginho signing, reveals Jacobs, and there's 5 possibilities, people. Again, hopefully he hasn't said anything. He said something new here, or, well, yeah, people, you know, we have been linked with Edson Alvarez, Zubimendi, Yuri Telemans on the free, Declan Rice, Caicedo. There's probably a bunch of other targets that might not even be these guys. Apparently, exclusive interview with Premier League journalist Steve K. Jorginho was not Arsenal's second choice for Moses Caicedo, probably wasn't, but he was an opportunity that could be done on the market, and you'd imagine we attempted to do such, really and truly. So as you can see here, well, Mikel Arteta has been tracking him for a long. This was in relation to Kyrgios. Well, Mikel Arteta has been tracking him for a long while. I was told they were tracking him long before the World Cup, to be honest. When I first got wind of it, I didn't know too much about him, and then I watched him in the World Cup. I was so impressed. I dubbed him, I think it means the Polish Maldini, because that's what he reminds me of. He is fantastic, a fantastic prospect, quick, strong, just he's a defender that's made for the Premier League. He's perfect for Arsenal because, I mean, everyone knows that he's came in at left side, and within the centre-back role as an alternative for Gabriel. If he were to go down injured, will be used as a rotation in Europe. Kyrgios is a big asset for Arsenal because he could also play in defensive midfield position if needed, and that possibility may be needed again. You know, just made for the Premier League. And for me, Mikel found an absolute gem. As I said, he reminds me of a Polish Maldini. Let's see if he can go and do that. In relation to Caicedo, Jorginho and Cole, firstly, very similar to Kyrgios. Jorginho has been tracked by our setup for a long time. A lot of people seem to think that he was the second choice after Caicedo, and then there's sorts of panics. Then they obtain their second choice within midfield. However, that's not the case at all, as it's a £10 million signing of 2 million add-ons. Obviously, that's all going to be connected with the title. What I've tried to explain to people is that with Caicedo, he would have come in, Jorginho would have still came into our midfield. He just fits in perfect to what Arteta wants. He can play many positions. He's also cover for Partey and play alongside Xhaka, which is essential. He has split the Arsenal fan base, as we know. He was not skipping upon a bunch of the Tosh people. He was not a replacement for Caicedo and was not a last-minute ditch thing. Someone who's been looked at for a long time and was always coming in whether Caicedo came in. I think he could be a massive link to lead Arsenal's towards winning the title, hopefully. On Milinkovic-Savic, I've also been tracking him now for a long time. Every single transfer window, the name of Milinkovic-Savic is discussed. Probably the biggest name in Arsenal transfers, and one that everyone I trust told me that this guy, as it was on the list. The problem was the money at the time. As a result, Milinkovic-Savic wanted to stay. He didn't want to leave Lazio. So he's one of those where I think Arsenal would have enough money. They would have been able to get him. There was also Man United who were very keen. I know Liverpool are interested. I know Liverpool spoke to people inside his entourage as they're desperate of a revamp within their midfield. Over the summer, there's going to be many, many clubs looking out for him within the Premier League. So I think there's going to be a number of teams after his signature. He's an excellent player that teams like Man United may need as well, especially Liverpool. I'd keep an eye on. So we're going to have to see how that one specifically develops, folks, in that regards. Scrolling and seeing what this is specifically saying. Barcelona are apparently trying to rival Arsenal for La Liga talent and Real Valladolid fullback Fresnadar, who he was linked with. We check out my video from yesterday. Allegedly, we're looking at Manuel Locatelli. We're the favourites now. Well, we're the favourites for everyone. Mitoma, Telemans, Milinkovic-Savic. Again, as you can see here, people. He's an alternative option to Declan Rice, it says here. So can you not get Rice for the 75 to 100 million? This is someone who's contracted until 2024. We're allegedly monitoring developments around Dusan Vlahovic. Once again, allegedly, we're looking at Mitoma. We've been linked with not only Zubimendi of Sociedad, but Brais Mendes. We've joined the race for Ansu Fati. We're the overwhelming favourites to sign Yuri Telemans in the summer. It will take a British transfer record to sign Declan Rice, according to David Moyes, and will face competition for such. So we'll have to see how these things develop, people. But in relation to Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, transfer news and talking points, that's all I've got to say. Check out the other videos, people. Smash the like button. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Most importantly, stay blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon. One love.
There's always just that active red light, defending.
I think it's like